It's time for Coffee on the Coast. Good afternoon and welcome to Coffee on the Coast here on the coolest coast. I'm your host this afternoon, Tina Prigge. Welcome back to the show, Susie Mank from Manitowoc Public Library. Susie, so good to see you.
It's so good to be back again.
And we're talking a little bit about like napping, sleeping, snoozing. Not typically something we talk about with the Manitowoc Public Library unless we're talking about bedtime stories. But this opportunity is super unique. Tell us what we're talking about.
We are talking about a sleepover on the submarine. So I know, does that sound crazy or what? Manitowoc Public Library is partnering with the Wisconsin Maritime Museum, and we are going to do a bunch of activities on Friday, July 29th, starting at 7 p.m. Um, the folks who register for this event are going to get a special sort of behind the scenes tour of the sub. So if you've been to the museum and done the sub tour, this is going to be a little different. They let you go up in the conning tower on this tour and go to some of the lower decks that are not on the normal tour. So it's going to be kind of cool because you get to see things that way. And then they're going to do some activities in some of the different compartments on the sub. So um, one of the things, I don't know how many different activities they're going to do, but I know when I used to work there, one of the cool things was Rig for Red, which is a kind of a submarine thing. um, so what they do is all the lights on the sub will go from white to red because the submarines always surfaced at night. Because submarines were stealthy, they were in the business of being silent and not seen. They always wanted to make sure that they were coming up at night, gave them less chance of being found, less chance of being fired upon, and that kind of thing. But submarines at the time that they were used in World War II had to surface occasionally to replenish the fresh air because they only had so many canisters of fresh oxygen in the sub. And after a while, it was just recycled. It would get too much carbon dioxide in it. So you needed to refresh the air. So you were breathing fresh air again every once in a while. And then they'd also have to turn off the batteries and recharge them. And so they'd run on the diesel powered engines for a while they were recharging batteries. And you had to do that up on the surface. So they surfaced at night. Well, if you go from being in a bright white condition with the lights on in the sub and then you walk outside, your night vision is severely retarded. You can't see as well. So rig for red was also a term that they used because then they would rig for red when they were going to go surface so that the difference between the rig for red light and the outside light was minimal. So your eyes adjusted much more quickly for the sailors who actually were leaving the sub and going out on the surface of the sub. So it's kind of a cool thing. And that sometimes they do that as an activity. I'm not sure what they all have planned, but I know that was one of the activities at one time that we did was Rig for Red. It's just cool to see, and it's just kind of fun.
Yeah, how amazing. What a cool chance to get to experience the submarine doing what it would have done in situation, right? But
Yes.
so we see the submarine, this cool historic artifact moored in the Manitowoc River. People have the opportunity to tour it, but it's not often that a person has the opportunity to experience the sub how it once was and then to sleep on the sub. Okay.
Right.
Tell us how people can take advantage of this. So it is Friday, July 29th, starts at 7 p.m., and registration is required.
Correct. Because the sub is a small space and there are limited bunks on the sub, we are asking that people register for this event. It's also a family focus event. So this is an event where you and your child need to come together. Parents are required to attend with their child or children. We will ask that a waiver be signed before the event. Either you can pick that up at the desk here in the youth department, or you can sign it before you come in, as you come into the museum that Friday night. So either way will be fine. And we are capping registration at 50. So you want to make sure you get in line fast. Registration will go live on Friday, the 15th. So this coming Friday at 5 p.m. So not
Okay.
in the morning, not until 5 o'clock at night. But registration, and it's really easy, the way we do registration now through our website. So you go to our calendar of events, click on the date, and then registration will just show up on the page. You can just go right ahead and fill out our form that's on the page and get registered. So it's a simple process now.
And with the registration, you're collecting the information, but this is a completely free event to the participants. There is no charge to have this experience of
Correct.
sleeping on the sub.
Absolutely. The library loves to be able to offer these opportunities to people in our community, especially for people who wouldn't normally have an opportunity to do this kind of thing. And we are super excited to partner with the Maritime Museum again and offer this great opportunity. I worked there once upon a time, and I know going through the sub is just an experience that you can't replicate anywhere else. There's nothing like walking through a sub and imagining 80 grown men inside this small cylindrical thing that it blows the mind to wonder how they ever operated and ate. One of the things I remember talking about when I used to help out there was hot bunking. So hot bunking is the idea that you had between 70 and 80 guys on the sub at any given time, but every piece of equipment had to be manned at all times. So they worked in rotations. You were 8 hours on, 8 hours off. And when you were on, you were on your equipment. When you were off, you could be sleeping. But very often, when you were switching shifts, one guy was rolling out of the bed while the next guy was rolling into it. Therefore, the bed was still warm. Therefore, the term hot bunking. Um, and you can imagine the temperature on an enclosed space like that was very often in the 90s. Um, so they had air conditioning, but it was mostly to keep the moisture off of the condensation down, off of the machinery. So it was all often very warm sub.
Yeah, it's
So
interesting. It was the convenience for the machinery and not necessarily the people. And so, okay,
correct.
you described hot bunking, but that is not the experience for the participants
No, we
on
are
the
not hot
submarine
bunking.
Sleepover. But people will be sleeping in those bunks that are on the sub.
In the bunks that are on the sub, there are bunks in the main room off of what's called the galley. That's where the majority of the bunks were, but there are also bunks in the torpedo rooms. So, if you get really excited and want to sleep by the big torpedoes, I wouldn't necessarily be super comfortable with that. But, the guys who worked on these subs, you had to stay close to what you were responsible for. So the guys who worked in the torpedo rooms, were more often or more likely to
Oh,
sleep closer to the torpedoes.
oh, it
That way
makes
they were right there if something needed to be done or
wow.
changed or fixed or something. So
Okay, so if somebody's going to sleep on the sub, what do they need? What should they be bringing with them? Do they need to have like a sea bag prepared?
since we are all sleeping together, we're not doing the whole it's not a pajama party. So no, actually nothing necessary. We're gonna have like the museum will provide like blankets and pillows and everything. They do this frequently. This is not something new for the museum, so they're comfortable with providing what's needed. Um, uh, I have to check if the sleeping bags are needed, though. I will have to double check on that, and we can post about that. But otherwise, you're just going to be laying down on those mattresses that are on the bunks, and it's always very interesting to me because what they have on there now is not exactly what was on there during World War II. It's much more comfortable. So, but it is
Used
just a
loosely,
bunk.
comfortable.
Yes, comfortable. But it is just a bunk, so be prepared for the fact that you are sleeping on a bunk, not a normal bed. And as you know, there will be no bathrooms available on the submarine itself. You will be allowed to get off to go into the museum if you need a restroom, but keep that in mind when you're registering. So, if you have younger ones who are up frequently at night, this might not be the right activity for you. You might want to think about that because the bathrooms will be a ways away
Okay.
during the course of the evening. So, but we've got a fun night planned, all these activities, the tour, and then the library staff is going to end the evening with some songs, sea shanties, and songs about submarines and a book called Mail by the Pail talking a little bit about life on the Great Lakes and how that works when you sail on a ship on the Great Lakes. We have a great book that was written locally called Sport, a dog on the Great Lakes. So we're going to read some of those kinds of books and give them a real nautical type experience for the evening. I think it's just going to be great. And then the folks will sleep over. We will provide some juice and donuts and bananas and things like that for breakfast the next morning. And then they'll have the opportunity to go into the museum and explore the museum as well the next morning. And all of that is free.
That is amazing. What an incredible opportunity. I almost can't believe that I'm hearing what you're telling me because it's just so, so cool. An opportunity for families to have a sleepover on the sub. You're not just sleeping over, you're getting to experience this sort of living history. Plus, the library is making it fun with sea shanties and other fun activities.
Yeah,
Plus, you get to visit the museum in the morning, all for free. It's
all
pretty
for free.
incredible. All for
Yeah.
free.
I love the fact that the library gets to partner with other local groups like the museum and other things, other agencies in the area, because there are so many great things that we have to offer here in Manitowoc. And I think the museum is like a pivotal point because shipbuilding and the Cobia and our maritime history is such a foundation for our culture and our community here, and it's great for people to get a chance to experience it, and I think this is a great way to do that. So I'm really excited that we get
Yeah.
this opportunity to do this with the Maritime Museum.
Oh, 100%. Let's just tell people one more time to take advantage of this. Registration is required. Registration opens up this Friday, July 15th at 5 o'clock p.m. You can simply go to the library's website at manitowoclibrary.org. And then the event, the sleepover on the sub, is Friday, July 29th, 7 p.m. Again, it's a sleepover into the morning. What an incredible opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great, and those who sleep over, it's the experience. This is what you're going for, is for the experience. So I think it's just gonna be a lot of fun.
I'll wager there are very few places in the world where residents can say, I slept on a submarine.
Right? Right? I think so. And a submarine of this quality, you don't find those very often. The fact that this is a historic landmark, basically, right here in Manitowoc River, that's pretty incredible to be able to say that, I did this in my hometown.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
that's a pretty cool thing. So.
Okay, is there a specific targeted age range?
We're looking for families, so this is really an extension of what we normally do for our family activity night. So it's those families with grade school age children that we're looking to entice to this. I don't think we have a cap on it, but it's definitely, for kids and parents.
Gotcha. Okay, so awesome. All right, I'm getting ready to sleep over on the submarine. I hope you all are too. And of course, if anyone has any questions about it, do not hesitate to contact the Manitowoc Public Library. Your
Right.
librarians are literally superheroes over there.
Oh,
So,
I love that you keep using that. I
Susie,
have that
thanks.
picture on the door of my office now.
Nice, nice. Thank you so much for coming on to Coffee on the Coast and telling us about this incredible opportunity. Something so unique here on the coolest coast truly makes this the coolest coast, and really appreciate everything you and the librarians and the staff are doing at the Manitowoc Public Library.
Thank you. We appreciate the way you support us, so we're happy to be here.
Nice. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching, and have fun sleeping over on the submarine. We'll see you next time on Coffee on the Coast.